Hello, and welcome to the Breakthrough Fear Masterclass. I am so excited to walk you through my unique framework and also show you how you can become the most expanded version of yourself and really embody the legacy of womanhood that you deeply desire. So I'm so excited to get started. So let's get after it. So who am I and how can I help you? My name is Brittany Fagan and I am a licensed therapist and an abundance mindset coach. And I've been doing this powerful work for over 10 years, which is so crazy because I work with thousands of people over the past decade. I really help women empower them to break through their mindset traps, unleash their highest selves, and really manifest their deepest desires, especially the things they never thought was possible for them, things that they have had so far out of touch, or even things that they never even knew they could literally just reside in and achieve and reach. So I just love the work that I do. And over the 10 years of experience that I've had, I've become certified in a lot of different things that has really leveled me to an expert status. So I really understand the language of the brain and how to tap into that mindset and really transform it so that your inside, your highest self inside, right, becomes that concept that you see of yourself, and then it gets reflected in your external reality. So that's some really powerful work, really being able to help people really leverage their everyday lives are making changes within in such a powerful, sustaining way. And throughout my, over 10 years of experience, but also my journey of life, I've been able to really connect with my highest self, my most expanded version. And that has become the catalyst for living my most authentic life and living a life on my terms as a liberated and freed woman. And I love just being able to embody my highest self at that identity level and really live by that mindset that, my worth and deservedness are absolute. And I love being able to share this journey with women and really being able to really like sow those seeds, see them nurtured throughout my courses, throughout the work that I do one-on-one, all that stuff. And at the core of it all, my mission and just what I live by is that everything starts with an empowered woman, and you are that epic woman. Like, you really are that woman. And so throughout this masterclass and throughout the work that I do, I'm going to show you how you can like really create space for your highest self, really become that most expanded version, and really have great abundance implementation work. So as I said before, I'm both a therapist and a coach. So what you will see in today's masterclass is going to be very different from what you see anywhere else, because I'm really leveraging those 10 years of experience, those 10 years of certifications and work, those 10 years of working with thousands of women, families, and children as well, in a really nice, unique framework where I'm really pulling all those things together. So you're really getting a very intuitive approach. You're getting a very high level approach, and an approach that's tried and true, like the facts are the facts. So I'm excited for you to go on this journey with me today in this training. And I'm also excited to see what happens, how your life changes. All right, so yeah, let's get after it. I went a little bit too far. Okay, so here's what you're learning today. You're gonna learn the mindset of abundance. I'm just going to put it out there. That is it in a capstone, the mindset of abundance, the empowered mindset of abundance. So in today's training, we're going to go through 4 steps to break through your mindset traps. And your mindset traps are whatever is blocking you from getting to abundance, whatever is blocking you from showing up in your most expanded version, your best version. That's a mindset trap, okay? And I'm going to show you how to really embrace your limitless potential and live purpose-driven. You're going to also learn my unique, powerful, and healing framework, the Epic Woman framework, where this is what I teach my students. This is what moves through all my programs, all the courses that allow them to embody their highest self. And you're going to also see the essential mindset mastery strategies and skills that allow you to have consistent, inspired, intentional action towards whatever goal you have: love, career, business, money, fitness, health, kids, whatever. And then at the end of it all, you're really going to see how to position yourself, right, to manifest your deepest desires on autopilot, right, as the most expanded version, right? So I want you to really take away what it means to live life on your terms, and also by honoring yourself, your authentic code. And that is really, really key, really, really just like at the core of it all, that abundance only comes when you are in authenticity and when you are really allowing yourself to create. So we have a very ambitious training today. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So diving right in, for most women, including myself, this is what our reality is. Like we get stuck in a lot of negative thinking, of fear, of scarcity, of limitation, of boxes, of what ifs, and it really kills our self-confidence. It really limits our hopefulness for what we can achieve. It really limits our ability to really believe that we have the potential to reach and achieve the things that we desire and the dreams that we have, that we kind of bury deep in our minds, deep into our souls, deep into our hearts. And because we limit our ability to expand, limit our ability to call in things that we want, or even just verbalize that we want something, we are constantly saying yes to things that we should be saying no to, right? People, places, and things that really don't align with us. We're constantly in the state of people pleasing, constantly in the state of allowing things in our lives that do not really feel authentic to us, don't really like light us up at this soul deep level. We allow things into our lives because we think that's what's going to do it for us, because that's what somebody told us. And so we exist in this state of perpetual dissatisfaction, detachment, and ultimately identity loss. And I think for a lot of women, we don't even know who we are after a while, because we've been on this like cycle for so long. I mean, to be honest, we've been on a cycle even before birth, right? Where our parents had already decided what a woman was or what a boy was, and then they're already curating this idea of that. So even before conception, like we were already being conditioned, and so can you imagine, whatever age you are, you've been conditioned a lot, and you've been put in this box, right, of this is a lane that you're supposed to walk. And because it's so much happening around us of what roles we're supposed to have, how we're supposed to do these roles, we start to normalize the feelings of being unfulfilled, unappreciated, underwhelmed, or even overwhelmed, right, with responsibilities or even how our life is going, that we stop being proactive, we stop challenging our feelings and thoughts or the situations that we're in, and we just say, okay, like we just what's the word? We just become like pessimistic. I think we become pessimistic, yeah, but we become passive. We become passive in our lives, and we give all this control over to the external things going on around us without recognizing, okay, that it doesn't suit us anymore, and we're not okay with this anymore. And we just feel like, for a lot of women, that if I identify that I have a problem with this, then I'm in a worst case scenario, because there's nothing I can do about it, right? So all of these behaviors reinforce what I call the mindset of limitation, where we are in that box, right? We are in that box, and we don't even want to see how high the box is or how far around it is, because it will cause us to be resentful, bitter, unhappy, and all those other things. So we just stay in the corner of the box, and we just become passive in our lives, even if we're unhappy. And I kind of touched on this earlier. I mean, women are constantly told and conditioned false truths. And I want to just like underscore this: false truths about who we are, what we can achieve, who we can be, and how we can achieve these things, right? And so we are given like very narrow lanes, and as we add more roles and more labels to ourselves, the boxes get more and more tighter, where it feels almost suffocating. So you go from, being a woman to, or being a girl to being a woman. And that has its own transition of lanes about our sexuality, our gender, how we can interact with people, how we can date, what we can wear, how we can talk, how, you know, all these things. And then, you know, you're told what success looks like for a woman. And then if you add your age, if you add your location, if you add your socioeconomic status, if you add where you're from, if you add like your race or ethnicity, like the box becomes tighter and tighter and tighter. The lane becomes narrow, more narrow and more narrow. And then, you know, you add the, you know, title of wife, and then mother, employee, and then what you do at your job. I mean, the lane becomes tighter and tighter, where you're almost walking sideways now, you know, because you just feel so overwhelmed and suffocated by the roles. And the thing about the roles is that, you know, the thing about the roles I think that's so difficult is that sometimes how you have to fulfill the roles don't even align with what you want as an outcome, right? So like your idea maybe being a wife looks different than what your partner thinks being a wife is, or society, or your parents, or what you've seen elsewhere. So it's so hard to even live life on your terms. You may not have problem being a wife, or being a mom, or being an employee, or whatever the case is, but the way in which you do it is probably where the conflict comes in, right? It comes, you know, how you balance these things. So living life on your terms is, you know, we've been so conditioned to have that good girl complex that we allow all these external realities to curate what feels good, acceptable, and approving for us, without even checking in within our soul and our heart about, does this align with me? Is this okay with me? Like, is this how I want to live my life? Does it feel purpose-driven? Does this light me up, right? And I'm here to dispel all this nonsense. In today's training, we are going to embrace the idea of true femininity, empowered femininity, because we as women are the most dynamic. Let me just tell you, we're the most dynamic. And I always say, and I'm sure I'm going to bring up this reference later on again, I always bring this reference up, it's like, Adam couldn't name all the animals. He needed Eve to come in to help him do everything he's supposed to do. And from Eve, everything gets created after her. I mean, as far as perpetuity, right? And you see this even with animals. You need that woman, right, to create the perpetuity, the lineage, the legacy, the continuity, the building of the community, the building of the family. The cornerstone of it all comes from the woman, the womb, right? Our womb space. And so we are so much more than that tiny lane that we are scrunched into. We truly are the seed that's sown and watered and grown to create the flourished, beautiful garden, okay? That is the mindset of abundance. We are friends, we are mothers, we are daughters, and we are still visionaries, right? And if you think of yourself as a woman who decorates that home, who creates the energy in each of the rooms, like this is the visionary that you have, like you're such a creator. You have that big picture. You can understand, right, what needs to happen. And because we are such visionaries, because we are able to nurture and create from within us instinctively, we're queens. We're at the top of the totem pole. We have to really take on the ability to be the rulers of our lives and what's going on around us. And this is what women are. Like, we are all of these things. And so we have to demystify these roles and actually embrace them and allow ourselves to figure out at the core who we are and how do we balance these things to curate the life that really and truly lights us up despite the conditioning. And that's what we're going to start working through today, is how do we do that? What does that look like? Okay. And so honestly, it looks like a simple choice. Like, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second, but the choice is you're going to either have that mindset limitation, right? Which is that keeps you within that box of false comfort and security, right? Because that's not the good girl, right? We're trained to believe the box is the good girl. And if we stay in the box, then, you know, we're okay. Things kind of are like status quo, but status quo does not light you up. Status quo just keeps things moving, but there's no expansion anywhere, right? If the mindset limitation felt good for you, you'd be happy in your love life. You would be happy with your money life. You would be happy with your body image. You would be happy with all your roles. You'd be happy in your career. These things will light you up, but it doesn't. That's why you're here. It doesn't light you up. So we have to move into the mindset of abundance where we're focused on expansion. We're focused on growth. We're focused on co-creating. We are allowing that feminine energy to go through our bodies and out into our external realities where we are able to really be authentic to who we are. And we are curating experience in our realities that reflect that identity, right? And our sis here is pointing the finger like, girl, what you want to do, right? Limitation or abundance, the choice is yours, right? And so I'm hoping that right now that you're seeing that, okay, that you do have that mindset of limitation, that you have been in this box and you're saying, hell no. And if you're saying, hell no, let's get after it. Let's keep going. So the game changer is we have to truly be accountable for the life we want to live. And the only path to lasting success is knowing you always have the power of choice. And I think like this was like the game changer for me. This was the mindset shift for me when I really recognized that it comes down to me legitimately making a choice to be accountable for my own legacy of womanhood. And success isn't just about money. And I think for a lot of mindset coaches and manifestation coaches, they show you this life of luxury, but you can't take money anywhere and money comes in and it goes out. Like, let's just be clear, okay? Let's just be clear. So I am huge on success being so much more than luxury and money. I don't even prescribe to that like ideology because money does not just make you happy. Like money does allow you to solve your problems, like more problems that you may have. Like a lot of times money is like help to solve problems. And I understand that. But if money was it, a lot of wealthy people would also be happy. And we know from looking at whatever tabloid or whatever, you know, that you subscribe to, you know, they're more than not happy, right? So success is an inside job. Success is really about being in your authentic code, living in heart alignment, being liberated and free, right? Being able to attract things into your life that are really meaningful to you, being able to be lit up about how you use your time, talent, and treasure, and most importantly, being able to just feel in your purpose, live in your purpose and see the impact of that on the world, okay? That's what success is. It is a sustainable thing that moves through every level of your life. And so I want to talk about this mindset breakthrough, like me making this choice, me understanding that I had to make this decision, this choice. So it was when I was like, goodbye fear and hello CEO, right? And CEO, yes, on the physical level, like, yes, I'm a CEO of my business, but CEO is being the CEO of your life. You are the chief executive officer of your life. And when you have a mindset breakthrough, it goes from the identity level of who you are at the core all the way to your external reality. So how you feel about yourself, how you show up for yourself, how you interact with others, how you build for yourself, how you build within yourself, how you use your time, talent, and treasure, the impact, and then it moves to things that you then manifest, okay? So it is not just some simple shift I'm making outside of my, outside of me. It's a shift that I'm making inside that trickles down to everything, every single thing else. Okay. So before I had this mindset breakthrough, like, despite all these years of being in the business, so this wasn't like this year or whatever. So this was years ago, right? So I was a therapist and I was even though I had lots of client outcomes, I did very well in my, as an employee, like I was working for someone else, you know, and I was just doing just amazing things in the community. I was still struggling with confidence and imposter syndrome, right? Like I still was doubting myself. I was still looking for external validation for what I was doing, for how I was doing it. I was needing that to still feel fulfilled. And it kept me really limited at this very exhausting, underpaying and limiting 9-to-5 job, okay? Because in my mind, success for women was you go to school, you get your degrees, you work for someone, and you work hard, you barely take time off, you give them all your time, talent, and treasure. Like, this is success for a woman. You know, you get married, have kids, and yada, 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 right? And so in my mind, I was thinking, okay, this doesn't feel good to me. Like I'm doing all this stuff, giving all this stuff, and I'm still like doubting myself. I'm still like not sure of myself. I'm still like very confused on why I'm not lit up, because on paper, like I'm the shit, right? Like I'm, you know, and so I was really stuck in the cycle of fear of, you know, and uncertainty and self-doubt, right? And I remember like people would tell me, oh, Brittany, you can have a business, you're going to do this, or you could do this. So they were seeing my potential. And it's really easy for an observer to see your potential, right? So I'm sure you have heard people tell you, that guy is out there for you, you know, or that woman's out there for you, or, you know, you're going to get that house one day, or you're going to find that dream job. Like they're telling you all this stuff, but inside of you, you're like, I don't know. I just don't know. And we're so conditioned to be in that box that when it's time to expand ourselves, there's so much fear, fear of the unknown, fear of it's possible, fear of what you're going to lose, fear of what you're not going to have, right? Like if somebody's telling you to break up with your partner, you're like, am I going to find somebody else? Like, I don't know, right? So there's so much fear, and there's all this feeling of scarcity, like, you know. And I remember too, I was thinking, okay, if I become a CEO, if I have my own business, like how am I going to pay my bills? Am I going to have consistent income? Like all of the things. And then adding as a, you know, I'm adding an extra layer of being a woman of color as well. And at the time I was younger. So I was thinking, okay, like, how am I going to do this? I haven't seen it done. I have not seen it done, right? So I didn't have enough proof readily available to me in my hands that made me be able to think it was okay to like at least pop a little bit of the box open, right? And so I realized, like I had like this like moment where I was like, what the heck? You're blocking your, you know, you're blocking yourself. Like you are blocking yourself. Yes, you're saying, I have proof, I haven't seen this, is what I've always been told, but this is what I know to be true. But it was me, myself, telling myself these things in my mind instead of looking for proof, instead of connecting and networking, instead of trying it out, instead of whatever. I just kept telling myself these things. So I realized, okay, it was me. It was me blocking myself. It was me self-sabotaging my own self. Even though I didn't feel happy, even though I wasn't feeling fulfilled, it was me legitimately doing that. It was me legitimately doing that. And so I made that decision to be my own game changer, to be accountable, right? And I started working through some steps. And that is what I call the Epic Woman Framework. So that's what we're going to talk about now. So to get to that place, so I got ahead of myself, but that is true. We're going to talk about it in a second. So to get to that place, I realized I had to stop giving someone or something power over me, right? So I can't like do this whole thing where it's, oh, I'm married, or this is what I was told, or this is what I've seen to be true. No, or I see coworkers at my job that have been at this job for 16 years and whatever. I had to stop doing that. And I had to start making life transforming choices that were heart aligned daily. So I wasn't going to look at the big overall picture and focus on this big leap. I just had to start making some shifts each day, right? And one of the shifts that I made was that I wanted to show up to help someone, you know, have their breakthrough. each day. And I know that sounds crazy because you're already a healer, you're a therapist, but for me, I need to hyper focus on, for me, I had to hyper focus on what my purpose was. And I knew my purpose was to bring life transformation to people. Like, I understood that. And so I just focused on that one thing. And then it added some other things, other layers. And I'm going to show you how I did that in just a second. The second thing was I had to stop the blame game, the self-loathing, and the criticisms, critiquing others, critiquing myself, because that was killing my confidence. That was feeding into the imposter syndrome. I actually had to be fully accountable, right? And live a purpose-driven life. So that means that I really had to take the driver's seat. I had to be the captain of the ship, and I had to be intentional about my time, talent, and treasure. So instead of focusing externally, I had to really be intentional about the internal changes and choices and decisions and actions that I was actually making, so that I was really depositing and investing and nurturing my expanded version. Okay. So, the reality is that, you're your own game changer. Like, no one is coming to save you but yourself. You really have what you need within you to be your own hero. Okay. And at the end of the day, like I said before, you're your own epic woman. Like, you already have an inner Eve. I believe that everyone has an inner Eve where everything starts from, everything game changes, where the perpetuity is, where the seeds are sown and grown and flourish. Like, you already have that within you, right? So be your own breaker of chains. Like, this is our girl Khaleesi here, okay? She did amazing things, right? Things that we would never have thought could be possible for her. She defied the odds. She broke through her mindset limitation to really have limitless potential. And not only did she do that for herself, but she was a liberator of people. Okay. And I want you to realize that you investing in breaking your own mindset trap, okay, is the opening of the floodgates for everything else around you and it can be even in small ways to big ways. You are the shift for everyone else. Okay. So getting to the epic woman framework that I was talking about before, like, this is my proven step-by-step mindset breakthrough framework that helps you unleash your highest self, liberate your inner woman, and totally embody your most expanded version. And when you do that, you can walk your purpose path and you can really manifest those heart-aligned deepest desires. And so I said before, like, I was focusing on one thing. Okay, like focusing on these really strong power words, throughout the day. And what I realized was me having that mindset shift for each of these words then made the massive shift all throughout me into my external reality. Okay, I think a lot of times when we're focused on manifestation work, mindset work, it's like these long sentences, right? Okay, go do this to do this, go do this to do this, go do this to do this. And it's all these long sentences and statements and all whatever. And I think it gets really cumbersome, right? And so when I think about, what it takes, like what your highest self is, I thought about this archetype of this epic woman. Like, this is Eve, like she's on 10, right? And this is the things that she embodies. And I truly believe that every woman embodies these things, but it's like underneath all this mindset trap, all these negative thoughts, all these old beliefs, all this limitation. And we have to start to unchain ourselves and break through those things and untangle ourselves from that construction. And so these are the pillars. E is for empower. So this is unchained, liberated, confident, in full authority, right? So living life on your terms and being enabled and equipped with everything you need. So you are in this state of radiating power within you because you are sure of yourself. You're sure of what you come with and nothing is holding you back, right? And P is for purposeful. So you're determined, steadfast, you're persistent in your pursuit. Okay. Persistent in your pursuit. of your goals, of your purpose path, of your impact, of the things that you desire. And you're dedicated and committed in that ambition, right? You're maintaining this motivation to call those things in. You're maintaining this motivation to outflow those things as well, those time, talent, and treasures, right? Like you are also the gardener tilling the soil too, right? So you're purposeful in that. And because of all these things, you're unshakable in your resolve. So once you understand who you are and whose you are, and how you know, are going to go about your life, you know, how you want to curate that experience of joy for yourself, you're unshakable in obtaining those things, right? You're unshakable in obtaining those things. And 3 is I for intentional. So you're deliberate, you're conscious, okay? You're conscious, self-aware, right? And because you're self-aware, you can actually plan and make premeditated choices and moves, right? That this is where the accountability component comes in, that you are staying disciplined and focused on the things that need to happen in your life, the moves that need to happen around you. And like I said before, like when I was making those shifts in that job from employee to entrepreneur, right? I knew there are things that I need to work on. Like I needed to have better communication. I needed to really focus on how I wanted to heal people. I needed to focus on the impact I wanted to make. So I was focused on really like bringing those things in, whether they were resources or trainings. Like that's something too I was huge on, training. So there was an opportunity to get trained on something that I thought was impactful. I was taking that training. So I was really planned and premeditated about how I was moving, right? I was really conscious about what was at what I had accessibility to. All right. And then C is for courageous. So this is where you're bold, you know, you're brave, right? Because it is hard to make this shift. It is hard to kick down the doors. And if somebody tells you something different, then they lie, okay? You know, you have to have bravery, right, to do it because you're going into an uncharted territory for yourself. And so this is a space where you're radiant, like you're really radiating light. And that's one thing I can always tell with my clients when they're really embodying epic women is they have a radiance about them that is untapped. It's how they smile. It's the energy in which I'm sensing from them. It is even, I tell some clients, even your skin complexion, the tone of your skin glows. And so I know that they have leveraged themselves higher through this epic woman framework, and they are moving through their mindset traps. They are freeing themselves of their mindset traps. And other part is perseverance, right? So you're persevering because through this path you get tested, things pop up, there's some obstacles, there's some barriers, there's some expansion, right? So you have to persevere through that journey. And courageous is also about being authentic and, you know, really residing in your authentic code. And this is the embodied confidence. Empowered, right, is being really confident, but the embodied confidence is when you're really acting on the confidence. You're acting through the confident state. It's not just feeling confident, but it's actually making choices and actions that reflect the confidence that you feel. Okay, so this is the Epic Woman Framework. It's beautiful. It's my baby. And it's something that has just allowed so many women to blossom. And so this is the framework that I work from and every single thing that I do. So let me show you these 4 simple steps on how you can start to work the Epic Woman Framework, embody the Epic Woman Framework, so that you yourself can work through your fear, work through your mindset limitation, and start to really embody your expanded version. So step 1 is check yourself, okay? Check yourself. So we talked about being intentional is really about self-awareness, right? So you have to be honest with yourself to break through fear. To break through whatever your mindset trap is, you have to be honest with yourself. So we know with the stages of change, the first stage is pre-contemplation, which is someone else telling you about yourself. That is not going to motivate you. That's going to probably irritate you. And it's also going to put you in a box. So when people are telling you, oh, this is what you should be doing, this is what you should not be doing, da, 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 it just filters in through that part of you that's conditioned and that actually pushes down your authentic code, right? Because if your authentic code doesn't align with what's being said, it just like puts that part of you in more fear and more scarcity, more limitation, and more of a box, right? So we have to move to the next phase, which is contemplative, where you yourself notice a problem. You yourself understand what's happening in your life. You yourself have the vulnerability with you to, in transparency, to really kind of assess those critical life areas of your pain points, right? To identify your pain points, be able to self-observe your mindset and behavior to pinpoint your abundance blocks and mindset traps. So I have a whole training on championing abundance blocks, and it is super critical, right? Is to be able to know where you are self-sabotaging, what your negative thinking patterns are, and what habits do those things like connect to. And then last is to self-evaluate your readiness for change, your willingness and the depth of your desire. So I'm sure my clients hate when I ask this question, but it's great that you can tell me all the things about yourself that you don't like and that you want to see different, but how ready are you to make the change, right? How ready are you? How willing are you to step outside the box? And it's okay wherever you are or wherever you reside at. Like, I'm not here to like shame you, but it is important that when you're making change or when you're planning for change and you're actively seeking it, you're being intentional and purposeful about it, is that whatever you decide to work on, like whatever that power word ends up being, that it is a power word, a space, a life area that you are ready to go through the discomfort, you're ready to persevere throughout, and that you feel equipped to deal with, right? And I just want to say that. And what I noticed too is like, and that's, hold on, that will back. That's why I was saying earlier, like some of these manifestation pathways or goal setting strategies, whatever, they may have these sentences about this, then do this, then do this. But the biggest part, like before you can even do all those things, is the readiness. Making sure you truly are willing to sacrifice what needs to sacrifice, like let go of what needs to let go of, that you're willing to put the effort and energy into the change, right? So I want you to even evaluate that. You may say, yeah, I want to lose weight, but are you willing to do the workouts and the nutrition changes? Maybe not, but maybe you're willing to, do something simple like walk with your kids when they come off the bus, or maybe you're willing to like just learn about healthier choices or read a book about something that has to do with health, right? So I want you to just evaluate those types of things before you even get started. What is your readiness, and where do you see that at? Okay. Step 2 is to create an irresistible vision. Right? So once you kind of know what areas of yourself you want to change, your pain points, and you kind of narrow down something that you feel really ready to commit to, yeah, create that vision, right, of what that will look like. So give yourself permission to hope, dream, and desire without bounds, as if the answer was already yes, as if you already knew that you would get these things. Like, what would you put there? What would be in place? And I want to say that because, like I said before, when I was transitioning from employee to entrepreneur, and I was like around people who were in a mindset of limitation, like they've been at that job maybe for 16, 15 years or whatever. And they're going to retire there. I mean, I'm just going to call it for what it is, And so I was constantly being reconditioned in this space to stay in that box. And so I had to step out of it to say, okay, like block that and just say whatever and put that down. And the vision that I came up with was that I really wanted to be a mommy, and I want to be a mommy, and I wanted to be really active with my kids. Like, I really wanted to have a lot of freedom to travel, freedom to go to their kids' parties and their school activities, be there when they come home, be able to, I wanted just to be really active and hands-on and create that environment for my kids. And so for me, when I started to create that vision, I realized that woman probably isn't working a 40, 50, 60-hour work week. you know? And so being an entrepreneur actually really wasn't my goal. I don't glorify entrepreneurship. I think some people do, but I really don't, because we all need to be at every level of society for society to work well. Like that's what universal harmony is that we all have a place and we all are building the collective in our own oneness. So if everybody was an entrepreneur, who would work at the hospital? You know, who would pick up our trash, you know, each week, you know, who would come, you know, like who would teach our kids? I mean, I can just go on and on and on. So I don't glorify entrepreneurship. I just glorify your purpose path, whatever that may be, where you're happy and lit up and feel very good about the impact that you're making and your contribution to society. So for me, my answer ended up being, you know, working for myself where I didn't have to work every day for long hours, right? Because it took away my energy, it took away my ability to create, it took away my ability to connect, all these different things. So when I started to create that vision, you know, I wanted to connect with all my senses. And that is really important, is to really connect with all parts of yourself. And so not just senses, but I want to say all parts of yourself to make it as tangible as possible and as heart aligned in your passion as possible. So, and why that is important, as I said before, when you have external things pressuring you to make change, it can't sustain. So we have to go inside, internal, to get the right motivation to make change. So we want to make sure that we are in a state of passion, of, you know, litness, right? So we have to be wait, we have to be lit up. And we have to feel like it's on the soul level, like it's that important for us, like it's that much of a passion, desire for us at the soul deep level. And so when I create visions each quarter, each month, even when I'm doing the things I'm working on, I make sure I meditate, I go in prayer, I meditate, I do whatever I need to do to disconnect from everything that would give me information minus my own intuition. Okay, so going into that state where you're in peace and serenity, wherever that may be, the sauna, the gym, you know, when you're or going for a walk in nature, laying on the floor, listen to a meditation, you know, whatever it is that allows you to totally disconnect so that you're really fully present and online for yourself, that's the best time to make a vision. That's the best time. And there are different types of manifestors, from specific manifestors to non-specific. So a specific manifestor would create a vision that's very, very specific, like what color car, what kind of car it is, what school that you want to go to or school you want your kids to go to, exactly how much money you want in your account, like, and how many clients you want to have in your business, like all that stuff. And that's what lights you up. That's what makes you get motivated. That puts you like totally on 10 level to get something happen. A non-specific manifestor is someone who's more connected to the emotions, the thought process, the impact. How do you want to feel, right? What is happening around you? How do you want to impact things? Like it's not into the specific, it's more into the emotions, it's more into the sensations, it's more into the experiences that are being had. And so I would say play with this, because I do think sometimes our own self-sabotage can get into the way of aligning with the right manifestation type. So if you've been a specific manifestor this whole time with making goals that are so specific, that are like your visions are all that stuff, and you don't see yourself actually, you know, meeting that need, and you see fear or negative thinking getting in the way, then switch over to non-specific. And if you've been non-specific for a while, it could be, again, your mindset getting in the way of you being very clear on what you want, because then you may be afraid that you won't achieve it. So switch over to specific manifestor. So really trying these things out and see what your motivation level is. How, you know, does your dedication change? Does your commitment level change? Does your ability to feel confident and brave about seeking this out change, right? So create that irresistible vision, check out the different manifestation types, and see what works best for you. All right, so step 3 is stay purpose driven. So disconnect from the how and focus on the process with intention and purpose. So when I was going from employee to entrepreneur and I was focused on the how, I was like mind blown. I work for a company, so I'm seeing all the moving and shakings that are happening. It's like, oh my God, that just sounds like so much I need to do. It sounds so stressful. I'm so overwhelmed, all this stuff. So it kept stunting me from making the first next step. So when I switched over and just focused on the process, so once I created that vision, I said, okay, what's the first next thing I need to do? Like, what's the first thing? It was like, oh, okay, all right, so look up insurance companies or look for a place, whatever it was that I said. I think there's a couple little small things I had there. Like, oh, no, I remember. The first next step that I had was to create my network. Because I realized that what was creating that mindset of limitation and reconditioning it was I was around people who worked for people. So I needed to actually expand my network and see proof of it being possible. So focusing on the process. So the first next step for me was just to connect with other people and network with other private practice owners. And that's what I did. So I got into different Facebook groups. I met different people, had little lunches and stuff like that. And that expanded me for that first next step, right? So when you're focusing on the process, you have to allow yourself to pivot when you hit a barrier, obstacle, or other blocks. So I know one of the things that I have done in the past when I've hit a block on my CEO journey was that I would just stand still. Like I'm like, oh my God, and I won't. And so instead of me saying, okay, let me find other options, let me connect with other coaches, let me look at other ways to do something, it would keep me at a stuck level for a while, right? And so one thing I've learned is that I have to pivot. If something doesn't work for me, if something didn't go the way I want it to go, okay, pivot, find some other stuff, go another direction. And that means you have to fail forward, right? So when you make a mistake or have failures, right? And on whatever you're working on, if say you were trying to date differently and then you kind of ended up with your ex again, it's okay. You can still break up with your ex and go back to the dating world, So when you fail forward, you can still pivot and get back on track. You can, and also, I guess the biggest thing when you're failing forward is taking the learnings from that incident. So when I would hit those blocks and not be able to pivot, like I didn't know to pivot yet, I had to realize, oh my God, feeling forward, I said, okay, why am I stuck here? What's happening? And most times it was mindset. It was a lot about my mindset. I was not focused on the expansion part. I was like, oh my God, I was still questioning my ability to be successful, that imposter syndrome. So me learning that allowed me to put something else in place and properly pivot. So when you're hitting those blocks on whatever you're working on, whatever it is to pivot by taking the learnings. What's happening? Why am I stuck here? What didn't work out? What's the mistake? Why am I allowing myself in this space? Don't forget accountability. So why am I allowing myself to be in this space? And then from there, what do I need? And that's where your pivoting can come from. What do I need? So the other thing is to create steps to reaching your goals that are SMART. So SMART is an acronym, making sure when you are really creating that goal strategy, that you're really specific about what you need to do. So it's the difference between saying, I want to lose 30 pounds. Well, it's the difference between saying I want to lose weight versus I want to lose 30 pounds, right? So you want to be really specific on exactly what it is that you're wanting to work on. So for me, I specifically have a power word, right? Like that's my power word that I'm working on. And I really get clear on what that means and what that's supposed to look like. And then you want to be you want it to be measurable. So how do I measure progress in this place? Huge. I think a lot of times when we set goals and we're working through something, we don't have markers for our progress. So we don't know when we've actually achieved something. And that leaves us always feeling like we're in a lack of. And that was me too. Like I would not recognize when I've made progress. So it took me a while to be like, oh my God, I've worked with how many thousands of people? Or they're doing what? Oh, So I needed to like take that moment, right? To give gratitude, right? And recognize my forward momentum. And then it's attainable, like making sure whatever your goal is something that you can, attain. is something that you can actually reach. And I don't mean, and I know like you're like, oh, Brittany, you've been talking about limitless potential. You still have limitless potential, but I can't say tomorrow I'm a millionaire. Like, I mean, I can, like if I play the lottery or something happens, but like making sure that whatever your goal is, it makes sense for where you are and the resources that you're calling in. So R is realistic. So that goes along with, you know, the resources, the accessibility, like your growth areas, your strengths, that kind of stuff, making sure things are ecological, like which means that they are positive for the community, positive for you, they're healthy. And then T is for timely. So making sure you have a good timetable. So when I was making these transitions, I gave myself a time frame, 3 months, 6 months, a year, depending on whatever it was. And I made sure that it's something that aligned with where I was and what I'm trying to do. It doesn't mean that you're not going to see people tell you they hit 7 figures in a year, right? You're going to still see that, right? But I want you to be realistic about your timetable. Are they an outlier that happened to, or is it like the general scope of things? Like, we know that people, you know, take so many years to be profitable in their business or whatever have you. And I want you to also know too, that what people curate online is different than when they pull back the onion to show you the naughty truth of what's really going on. And that's something that I peep, you know, when I'm listening to people's podcasts, I'm really listening to people's stories, is what are they not telling me? Not that I'm looking for what they're not telling me, but like, when they tell me this like crazy radical story, I'm like, oh, I'm awesome. That's great. Now, tell me the naughty truth, right? And then as you start to listen, you'll hear, oh, I really was in business for 8 years or 10 years before, or I had 3 other businesses before I had this business. So, you know, make sure that you are focus on your process with intention and purpose, and that when you make your goals, they're based on you, not someone else and what somebody else has achieved, because you don't know all the different things around how they set themselves up for that success. And even something else that I've noticed too is like, people won't tell you the full story of all the resources that they brought in to make these quantum leaps. Okay, so that's something just to be mindful of, is that you want to create your own pathway, your own purpose path, your authentic purpose path. And you want to be intentional about how you move, right? And conscious and self-aware about where you're starting. And that is self-compassion. That's where grace comes in. It's really knowing who you are, loving your vulnerability, loving your imperfection, and knowing that it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly good. It's everything that you're supposed to come to the table with. And what you come to the table with is enough and more than enough for you to get to your next goal, right? And I said this earlier, giving gratitude always. So really recognizing that momentum, really recognizing divine energy moving around you, being really positive in what you are doing, the impact that you are making, because it's so easy to be critical. And once we're critical, we open the crack for that old way of thinking, okay? The old way of doing that we're moving away from. All right, so step 4 is, like I said before, everything starts with an empowered woman, especially when backed with a strong sisterhood. So this is where you want to ask yourself, what do I need to maintain empowerment while walking my purpose path? How can I be prepared and create space for abundance, right? So, and even more, create space for your highest self. I think that's even more potent of a phrase to ask yourself. So one is to consider your strengths and growth areas. There's nothing wrong with that. You're perfectly imperfect. So you're not supposed to have it all. You're not supposed to be everything for everyone. You're not supposed to have every positive trait in the book, because then there will be no place for anybody else, right? We're supposed to be in harmony. So we are all from the same creation. That means we all have different roles and responsibilities. So it's important for you to figure out what yours is, right? And how to leverage those things to reach your next set of goals. So 2 is to determine your potential barriers. So yes, I do. When I am setting my vision up and I'm writing and I'm goal strategizing, I do think about that. Where are my barriers? You know, what would be an obstacle for me? whether it's, the network I need to expand in, if it's a knowledge gap that I need, is it just my motivation, my focus, is it my time, my schedule, my responsibilities, like where are your potential barriers? And there's nothing wrong with having barriers. We all have barriers. So the next thing is to identify your needs and seek out those resources, okay? So once you know your barriers and your obstacles ahead of time, then you can identify what you need and put those things into place now. And at the core of it all, you want to maintain a non-judgmental, a positive, healthy, encouraging, and expansive sisterhood around you for support and accountability. This is critical, okay? Like I said before, we're constantly being conditioned by everything around us, intentionally and unintentionally, consciously and subconsciously, okay? So when I level myself up, I level up my network too, right? Because they're the ones who are going to be, also like conditioning me, right? So I'm putting people, places, and things in my life that create expansion. And I'm also releasing things that no longer serve me. You do outgrow people, you do outgrow places, you do outgrow things, okay? So this is where you kind of have to make that juggling act. And it doesn't mean that you also drop your girls. No, that's not what I mean. I mean, you just evaluate where your energy is at, what's draining you, what's inspiring you, what's leveling up, what's rejuvenating you, and make the decisions that you got to make. All right. So I know all this sounds really, really good. You like these 4 steps, girl, you got into it just now. But the reality is, you may still feel really overwhelmed with the process. You may fear the possibility of failure. You may still be filled with uncertainty or the lack of clarity on your purpose. This is so massive, because we're so conditioned to see success in a very specific way that it's hard to know what our purpose really is, the impact that we could have on the world, the impact that we were designed to have on the world. So you may have a lot of difficulty figuring out what those first steps should be to really create the necessary mindset shift. And you may feel really defeated. I mean, you may have tried some things in the past that weren't successful. And so you do feel really stuck. And you do feel very filled with a lot of self-doubt, right? And so you're still in a cycle of maybe self-sabotaging and not just really being sure of what it takes, right? And you may even be in a place where you're like, yes, 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 I want my more life. I want to live in absolute worth and deservingness for my more life. And I'm just really scared. Like, I don't know if I can do all this stuff. I've tried some things, I've done some things, or I've seen some things, and I don't know if I got it all. I need some more support. I need some ways to get started. I need a jump start. Don't worry, sis, I got you, because the globe is real quickly. So I'm not going to leave you hanging, and I want to show you how you can continue this process in the most up-leveled way possible. So introducing you to the Hello Highest Self. This is my signature mindset program where I really walk you through my entire expansion process from start to finish. This is where you legitimately embody your highest self, where you legitimately work through your mindset traps and you heal all parts of yourself on the inside, where you are really making that massive, internal shift into that embodiment place where you are really knowing and knowing your authentic code, living at your authentic code. You have created space for your highest self. You are legitimately walking in purpose, and you really know how to magnetize yourself to attract all the things that you desire into your life, and you're creating a beautiful, abundant flow all around you in every area of your life. Because as I said before, as you are embodying that epic woman framework, you'll see how making those identity level shifts go throughout your whole body into your habits, the way you use your time, talent, and treasure, how you interact with others, and then ultimately your external reality changes, right? And so the Hello Highest Self program is the way to make that full up level possible. So let me tell you a little bit about this. So you're probably like, why do I need this Epic Woman expansion process? Like, girl, how's it going to help me? What's it going to do? And tell me more about it. So this is the feminine embodiment of freedom and liberation. Like, this is hashtag liberated woman. So this picture is my first vacation after not taking a vacation for like a year or so, when I was working this super stressful job I talked to you before, and we were on a month-long vacation. It was awesome. This is a picture where we were in Rome, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm free. This is where I had transitioned to, you know, entrepreneur, and I took the leap, I took the journey, I worked through those 4 steps I told you about before, and this is where I am full-time entrepreneur, taking the leap, and it was beautiful and amazing. So through this expansion process, so the Epic Woman framework, and I created the Hello Highest Self program, which is the full embodiment of Epic Woman. These are the things that you will achieve. And this is me, and this is all things I achieve, but again, it's through this process, right, that I'm telling you about right now. So I was able to set the right boundaries and belief system for my desires to become a reality, right? So I was able to take that vision I told you about before and literally change my belief systems about who I was, how to achieve those things, what was possible. And I literally made that shift. Like, I had a different belief system, and that belief system was rooted in my worth and deservedness for my moral life being absolute. Okay, which is meaning it's unwavering. Like, this is how I'm showing up into the world. And I was able to create the boundaries around me to curate this life on my terms. So it allowed me to walk my purpose path, feeling very fulfilled. I felt very intentional. I feel very purpose driven. I see the impact that I'm making on women's lives. It's just something that like is such a game changer in how I show up into the world. And through this Epic Woman process, I've also created my endless love story, right? And this is where the Epic Woman process even really began, was healing from a long-term relationship and meeting my husband and doing all this stuff. And that's where like, I really was like, oh my God. And I kept replicating it over and over again, from love life to career life to entrepreneur life, right? And even just like personal life, like who I am as a person, it's been radical shifts in my authenticity. Like, I didn't really realize how much I was so far away from who I was supposed to be. And so going through this process has allowed me to get so deeply rooted in my identity as this woman. And I'm just like, I don't know, I'm just radiating about it. Okay. And so I said before, employed entrepreneur, using my own unique, powerful framework, which is Epic Woman, which you know. So, you know, I have create a 6-figure business with a 3-day work week, right? I'm a mommy, right? And so wife, mommy, and CEO, like that is who I am right now. Those are the roles, as well as everything else, like, you know, aunt, sister, daughter, friend, you know, community person, you know, all these different things. So all the different roles that I have. And it's so amazing to know that I create this business in a 3-day work week, and I'm able to give of myself in all these other passion-filled ways that I could not before, right? I'm literally embodying a mindset of limitless potential. And it's crazy because the things that I'm doing right now, I never thought. I always tell people, I never want to be an entrepreneur. I never thought I would be here, and here I am. And then like every time I hit a new goal, I'm like, what? And then I look at because I've hit that goal and I'm working on myself consistently to keep expanding, I'm like, oh, I never thought I would have a 6-figure income. Okay, boom. Oh my God, I never knew I would have, you know, my own business. I have 2. Like, it just like, it keeps on giving. You keep breaking more ground. So as I create more and more space for my highest self, I'm also creating more and more possibilities and potential in my outside reality, okay? And that's what I want you to really see. When we're working through those 4 steps, this mindset work is happening the whole way. And that's what creates a catalyst, right? The fuel to keep powering through level by level by level, step by step by step, you know, manifestation after manifestation after manifestation, expansion after expansion after expansion. And you keep doing that. You keep creating this more flow and ease for abundance. You keep becoming more and more and more magnetized for so much more than you ever thought. Those wild, you just go beyond your wildest dreams. And this energy then connects to so many people around you. I cannot tell you, not just like, you know, students and clients of mine, but just like strangers, people maybe at my church, people in my community, organizations, friends, family, these types of things, just being around me. My conversation is different, how I motivate is different, what I show is different, what I encourage is different, what I become proof for is different. Right? So when you're working on yourself, when you are investing in your mindset shift, when you are deciding to break through fear, the fear ceiling, limitation ceiling, the scarcity ceiling, you are legitimately sowing seeds for everyone else and watering it for everyone else without giving any extra energy out, okay? Just by being yourself. Just by being yourself and showing up how you were supposed to be created. And the reality is, like, my statement also, you're not created to just survive, you were created to thrive, okay? So when you are thriving, just being who you are, just being just your natural, God-given created self, okay? You are now making massive change in the collective around you just by showing up and being the piece of the puzzle that you were created to be. And so this is the power of the Epic Woman Expansion process. And this is what I take you through the Hello Highest Self pathway. So it is a 6-phase pathway. And again, as I said, this is the full embodiment, the full embodied expansion process of the Epic Woman framework, okay? So the first phase of the program is the mindset preparation. Like I said before, in that step 1, you have to get that mindset ready and willing for change and for expansion. So this is where we are preparing your mindset for radically shifting into expansion, to have those quantum leaps. Phase 2 is the mindset foundation. So you're getting into a deep state of intentionality, getting conscious, planned, highly self-aware so that you can embody the Hello Highest Self pathway. So you're getting to really, really know yourself. You're really getting to know those parts of who you are, that authentic code, right? And we move into that heart alignment phase, that mindset realignment phase, where you're becoming grounded now in that authentic code. So this is where you are embracing your authenticity, your core essence. This is the embodied part of your thriving, like who you were meant to be, right? So if you know what your purpose path was before, you know it now. If you didn't know who you were detached, you were all over the place, you felt a loss of sense of self, you figure it out with crystal clear clarity in this phase. And phase 4 is the mindset breakthrough phase. This is, you're having mindset shifts the whole way through the program, but the mindset breakthrough phase, this is where we get so intimate with your mindset traps, where they came from, how they got created, how they got perpetuated, your conditioning as who you are as a woman. So regardless of the roles you play or where you came from, your story, your lineage, your culture, this is where we tap in to that narrative and storyline to heal those parts of who you are, that self-image and self-identity, and we release those things that are really weighing you down, release those like negative thoughts and false truths, we release those things. And then we integrate all parts of who you are. We bring all of you online, right? In intentionality and in purpose. So this is where you really become so liberated in your highest self. Like you really become empowered because you are breaking the chains all around you. And then we move into phase 5, which is the reprogramming phase. This is the mindset reprogramming phase. So this is where I teach you how to reposition and rewire your subconscious. And you see that your thoughts change, how you feel about things change, and then ultimately your habits. So how you are like tangibly, physically showing up in the world. So this is where we really create that space and really put in what needs to be put there for you to sustain your highest self, right? And then phase 6 is the abundance phase. So this is where you're embodying your energy sovereignty, like where you are in the state where you literally are the gatekeeper of your time, talent, and treasure, your energy. This is where you learn how to create your heart-aligned purpose path and really walk it with intention. So this is where we are really strategizing your goals. We are really working through your abundance blocks. We are really putting some very strategic things in place where that you can sustain your highest self ongoing to really kind of, like I said before, bypass your wildest dreams, like keep like breaking the ground, keep breaking the ground, keep breaking the ground. So this is a 6-phase Hello Highest Self mindset pathway. And this is what I literally take you through the Hello Highest Self program. All right. So what's all involved? So you saw that really beautiful picture and it had like all the different things on there. You're like, okay, girl, that's a whole lot happening. Break it down for me. So the course overview, you have over 35 core lessons where I'm deep diving and I'm teaching you at a high touch level, like what time it is, okay? We go through so many parts of womanhood, so many parts of legacy building, so many parts of just like skill building around mindset mastery and heart alignment, intuition, like so much stuff, right? And you have over 8 bonus master classes involved, which are more like work, like workshops, to be honest with you, like they're meaty and we get it in there. And you have guest experts, because I know that so many women in our community have so many other great things to bring to the table to help women heal, transform, and up level. So I bring in guest experts to do master classes for you on different areas that I think will help with holistic healing, holistic leveling up, deepening different lessons that we're talking about. So that's really beautiful. You have weekly mindset practices, which are so powerful. Like I said before, everything's a mindset practice. Everything starts in the mind. So I show you how to create really great mindset practices daily for you. And I give you those to help throughout each of the phases. You have exclusive subconscious audio. So, like I said, over 10 years of experience. So your girl ain't giving you just, some slapdash nonsense. Like, this is deep work, expert stuff. So one of the things I do a lot of work on is with hypnosis, the language of the brain, like NLP, these types of time techniques, EFT tapping, meditation. So a lot of work to help really tap into that mindset at the subconscious level. We do a lot of deep healing practices. So that really is just a self-compassionate way to work energy throughout your body, out of your body, work through emotions like stuck feelings, stuck thoughts, and really create healing practices that you can sustain ongoing. That's one thing that I'm really big on, is to make sure that you really know how to self-heal and to do it in a way that's sustainable, that feels natural to you. So you have a lot, of resources for that I walk you through. A lot of mindset mastery skill building. So I think that this is the joy of having a therapist and mindset coach in a program, is that I do a lot of skill building. And so you get a lot of touches of other therapeutic modalities that you would see a therapist for, or a therapist would expose you to, as well as a coach. So that I think is really, really beautiful, that I am literally walking you through, hand-holding you through skills that you can continue throughout your lifespan, okay? These are things that I know can work for so many different things. So you are literally building a toolkit for yourself for lifelong expansion and growth. You have abundance implementation worksheet. So before it was like a big workbook, but like I realized nobody wants to download almost 100 pages. So the worksheets are there throughout each of the master classes and lessons and whatever else I need you to do, so that you can literally implement the abundance now. Okay, you can implement the mastery now, and you can work on the skills now, so you can see transformation now. Okay, and then you also have coaching calls throughout the program where I'm working through any of the questions that you have, answering any the course content, or up-leveling the course content for you to the next level, and just also for connection, tapping in with you, kind of getting that intuitive feedback, right? So that you can continue moving through the Hello Highest Self pathway. And then lastly, there's always a sisterhood community for accountability. So accountability partners there to continue the discussion, dialogue, and again, for that expansive network that we talked about before. So you're going to start talking differently throughout this program. You will start to think differently, and you're going to see the world differently. So it's important that you're around people who are also up-leveling in the same way. All right. So Are you ready for your breakthrough today? Are you ready to become your most expanded version today? Like, if this is something that you want, that you know you need, that you realize the impact of, and you have the readiness, the willingness, and the desire to become the woman that you know you're always supposed to be, you're ready to reside at your worth and deservedness for your more life being absolute, then this is for you. So I totally appreciate you being here. I totally appreciate you saying yes to breaking through the limitation, breaking through the ceiling. So I'm giving you a discount code right now, EPIC, EPIC, for the next round of Hello Higher Self. So if you're interested, you want to go through this program, you see it being beneficial, you can commit to it, like, and you want to just get to that more life. You want to be your highest self. You want to finally stop self-sabotage. You don't want to live in fear. You don't want to live in scarcity. You don't want to live in limitation anymore. Then check it out. You can go to www.bdanielle.com/hello highest self. And the code is EPIC. So the next round's coming up. You can use the code EPIC and get a discount to join, to register. And again, this is on my regular website, so you can go on there and you will also see more information about it. And you can always let me know if you have any questions. You can always reach out to me, and I will give you my contact information in a bit. So, go back one. There we go. So I want to let you just know, look, I don't want you to let discomfort or fear to get in the way. It is totally uncomfortable to kick down the wall and the ceiling in the bottom of the box. I've been there, I know it, I get it. And I know what fear feels like. It will cause you to be stuck. So don't let these things get in the way of you becoming your most expanded version and living a life of joy, happiness, impact, satisfaction, and most importantly, success, okay? So being called to inspired, aligned action. So when you feel that urge to do something, do it, okay? Listen to that intuition. Make heart-aligned choices on your purpose path daily. So I said, I'm tapping into a power word, and I'm thinking about how can I speak with more grace each day? How can I, be more liberated today? How can I be more authentic today? How can I be more planned today, right? So focusing on one of those words and just allowing that to be what you're working on each day in those small ways, those small, subtle things create massive mindset shifts, because you are showing your mind there's a different way that you want to work on. There's different ways you want to live your life, and it will course correct. So maintain that inner and outer commitment, right? So you want, as I said before, those simple, small things. So being committed to just making those subtle things, those subtle changes, right, will allow your higher self to show up. Okay, and making sure that it's heart aligned. So that's what I'm saying, inner commitment, that heart aligned action. It feels like it's supposed to be there. You feel it so deep that this is how you're supposed to live your life. This is what's supposed to be there. This is what you desire. This is for you. Yeah, stay committed to that feeling. And then lastly, continue to invest in yourself. So just like we invest in, things for other people, who's calling us for money or who's calling us for a favor. We are always saying yes instead of saying no. Say yes to self-nurturing yourself today. So what do you need today? And actually prioritizing that, putting, whether that's money, time, whether that is just rest, whatever that is, if it's further knowledge or self-development, put that as a priority. All right, so to get you started right now, I have a mindset audit for you to download for free. And you can download that at www.bdanielle.com/mindset audit. And you can also go on my website and it will be there as well. So this is a mindset workbook to help you out, starting with step 1, which is checking yourself. So in this workbook, you'll be able to gain crystal clarity on what's blocking your goal getting. You'll be able to get into deep heart alignment with your purpose path so you can create the abundant flow, right, that we've been talking about. It will also allow you to tap into your highest self, because through those questions, you'll start to go, you'll start to allow the intuition to move through and navigate you, right? And that's really important, is being able to go through a process that allows you to disconnect and detach from all the thinking. So these questions are intuitively created to allow that process of self-awareness to happen. And through this audit, you're going to be able to reposition your mindset and expansion. It's created to get you aligned with your desires and get you aligned with abundance. And from this workbook, you'll be able to create actionable steps to release what no longer serves you and create the right boundaries to reach your goals. So this is the kickstart to your abundance journey. It starts right here. Step one, checking yourself. All right. Whew, that was an ambitious masterclass, and we are at the end. I'm so proud of you for rocking with me, sticking with me, and seeing how things go. So let's stay social. I don't want you to just dip on me and leave me. I want to know more about your journey. I want to know the things that you're doing, how you're up-leveling yourself, but I also want to continue to nurture your process. So follow me on Facebook or Instagram at Epic with Britt. I'm always dropping nuggets and knowledge and gems for women to up-level themselves, to create that legacy of womanhood they deeply desire and live as their epic woman, right? My website is www.bdanielle.com. So get in there, tap in there. There are lots of courses and feedback in there. So a lot of things I talked about today, I actually have courses on. So you can go in there and, get into a course that really aligns with you right now and kind of get started on your process. And then my email is epicwithbrit@gmail.com. So again, email me if you have questions, let me know what's going on, touch base with me. I would love to know how this is working in your life, what you're implementing. And yeah, I just want to continue to see you do amazing things. And so again, like I said before, I am just so proud of you being here and just honoring yourself right now. And I want to continue to see you do that and see the things that you create. Good luck. And I can't wait to see you soon. Bye.